According to a recent survey, almost 3/4 of secondary school students admit to bullying. And with workplace bullies costing our economy dear, billions in fact, we want to ask, how big an issue is bullying in Britain? Naturally, this week, we've put bullying into the spotlight. Are we really a nation of bullies? A survey out this week suggested that we start young. 71% of secondary school pupils admit they've picked on others. And cyberbullying is on the rise. Teachers are also in the firing line. Another survey out today said that many of them are harassed by their students. And bullying doesn't stop at the school gates. It's a big issue in the workplace too. The Samaritans say it affects 80% of employees. And bullying costs the economy billions in sick leave. But just how do we define a political bully? From the Iron Lady to the man formerly known as the Iron Chancellor, do we see Thatcher and Brown as bullies or just strong leaders? Might one man's bully boy tactics be another man's idea of strong management? Gordon Ramsay is a tough cookie, but he gets results. Sir Alec Ferguson has been called a bully, but does it matter if he keeps delivering the goods? Perhaps we just need to toughen up. And we welcome to the programme Duncan James, formerly of Blue, now about to become a Capital Radio DJ, is that right?
Yeah, it's all go.
OK, now you've got a particular interest in this. You speak for it, you represent an organisation. Were you bullied at school?
I was bullied, but I think it's safe to say now, you know, I think it's something like 80% of people living in England have been bullied at some point. I know what it's like to be bullied at school, and it's really horrible. But we're living in a world nowadays where it doesn't just stop at the playground. You know, when I was at school, I could go home and it would be fine. But now, you know, mobile phones, it still goes on.
You think it's got worse?
Oh, much worse. It's more psychological now. So kids are still bullying when they're at home.
Have you been bullied as an adult? Because does it continue after?
I've been in the music business, so yeah, I think
it's full of bullies, isn't it?
Yeah, I think most.
Is that right?
Yeah, of course. You know, you're bullied in things you don't want to do. I think a lot of jobs as well. A lot of adults at work are bullied into things they don't want to do. Pressurised. There's a lot of pressure. Kind of feel that you're put into a corner. I'm sure Michael can.
Well, we'll be coming to them
like
in a minute. Don't you worry, Duncan. Let me ask you this. I mean, it does seem to be something of an epidemic. It seems to have got worse. More kids seem to be getting bullied today than before. Are we doing enough about it? And what should we be doing about it?
Well, personally, my view, I've got a little girl. She's about to start school this year, so it's a big worry for me. I think there needs to be more of a clampdown on teachers, and actual parents need to be communicating more. Because obviously, if a child is bullying, then there's obviously a reason why that child is acting and behaving in that, you know, in that way. So I think it's very important for the teachers and the parents to actually have a lot more communication together to actually get to the bottom of what's going on. Maybe a child is very unhappy.
Sometimes they're the last to know, aren't they?
Well, of course.
The kid who's being bullied will often just keep it bottled up inside.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I got involved initially in the Beat Bullying campaign. I think for a familiar face that people can relate to, that they can see, and I can say, look, I've been bullied too. You don't have to suffer in silence. There is ways now. We live in a world where you can go on the internet and you can just type in bullying and you can get it comes up. You know, Childline, Beat Bullying.
It gives you help if you.
There's help, and if you're frightened, you don't want to tell your mum or your dad or your big brother, or you don't want to tell your teacher or your friend, and it's something you're dealing with. There's ways now that you can actually get independent help. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You're doing that, and I think that's really encouraging.
Diane, did you bully people when you were at school?
I wouldn't call it bullying, but I had a friend who had.
I think they might have.
Yeah, she had very big ears. And I used to do these drawings of her with her ears and pass them around the class, and she ended up going and having plastic surgery to have her ears pinned back. And I look back on that with shame.
Well, horrible as kids,
was that bullying?
Probably, yes.
Maybe. Does bullying go on in politics, Michael? I guess it must.
I'm sure it does.
Yes.
It does. I've never experienced any at all. I mean, I think of Margaret Thatcher bullying Geoffrey Howe, for example. I think that did happen. I've always wanted a word in the English language. It's kind of bully-y, the sort of person that when you see them, you want to bully them.
Victim,
You know,
you
they
mean
just...
the victim?
No, not the victim. The person who kind of attracts it. That I mean, Margaret Thatcher couldn't look at Geoffrey Howe without wanting to bully him. There just are people like that who invite it.
Do you think that some of our politicians, recent ones, current ones, I mean, Margaret Thatcher, or she was probably more a strong leader than a bully, though?
Yeah, I definitely think she was a very strong woman, a very strong leader, you know, a very strong leader. But I think there's obviously some form of, I don't know, it's not my place. So I don't know what goes on in the political world, but I'm sure there's a lot of pressure, let's just say.
Well,
Oh, yes.
in every whip's office, whether it's Labour and Conservative, they always have an enforcer.
No, the
This
whips
is-
are bullies,
Yeah,
that's for
this
sure.
is someone whose head is directly
Sure.
joined to their shoulders, and they literally back, you know, impressionable MPs
have
up
no
against
necks.
walls.
Is
And
Gordon...
of course, the bullying is at its worst when the cause is most desperate. For example, Liberal Democrat and Labour MPs now being bullied to make sure that they don't vote for what was in their manifesto about a European referendum.
He has to make political points.
Well,
you see
you
what I
know,
mean?
just like-
Let's just stick to the bullying. Isn't Gordon Brown a bit of a bully?
No, I don't think he is.
Oh,
No, you do. Come on, Dan. He's not watching tonight.
Have
He's out,
another go.
He's out on the, he's out on the town, as you know. He's always out in the town. He's looking for new budget red books. He is a bit, isn't he? Shouting at garden girls.
Well, I've never seen or heard him shout. I don't think
All
he's
right.
a-
Well, I would think he may be, but also David Cameron. He's a bit of a bully, isn't he? He bullies down the way.
I believe he's got a little bit of a temper sometimes.
Yeah, we've seen it in the
It's part of our
doors
human
of
nature,
this
though,
studio
isn't it?
around here. We've seen. We won't go there too much, but we've seen it.
It's part. I think it's very much of society. It's human nature. From if you go way back in the day, you know, it's bullying. It's. I guess we are as a species. We like to bully. We like to pick faults in people. It makes us feel better.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
now
know, and it's if people are a bit different, especially when you're a child and somebody's very different.
Sure.
You're definitely a target.
Okay, look, there are a lot of politicians watch this program. If there's one thing you would like them to do to improve the situation, what would it be, Duncan?
Well, I think, first of all, things need to be addressed within, obviously, the government to make things change at school. The way everything's dealt with, social, the way it's dealt with. I think it's very important for the government to enforce rules. And I think if there's a bully at school, and I think he needs to leave that school. I think there needs
Really, you
teachers.
just get them out.
Teachers' hands are tied
You
these
said
days.
he, but girls can be the worst.
If he, I'm sorry, did I say
no,
he?
we
I didn't mean-
realised that
I didn't mean to
earlier,
say that.
Diane.
That was just. That was
Just
just.
holding my ears back here at the moment. All
I
right.
just think if a bully is being bullied, I think, and it's a problem, I think the school needs to say this child is not coming to the school
By the
anymore.
way, Andrew, you were editor of the Sunday Times at 34. Any bullying involved there, do you think?
Yeah, they bullied me quite a lot because I was only
the other
34.
way around.
Duncan, thank you for joining us.
Oh,
tonight, but
thank
do
you.
not
Thank
go
you.
away.
Okay.
Because we're going to bully them a little bit. We've got a quiz and they will need help. As we mentioned, the story of Prince Harry fighting Afghanistan is an example of a pretty well-kept secret, even though it did come out a little earlier than planned. So what else could we do but have a quiz on political secrets? Shh. Ooh. Right, here we go. Let's put this first figure up on the screen. Who is this and what was their secret?
John
That's
Major,
John Major,
Edwina
he was
Curry.
having an affair with Edwina Curry.
Is there an echo in here? It's true, that's John Major, and he had an affair with Edwina Curry, which we in the press knew nothing about until she wrote her memoirs. Next one, who's this and what was his secret?
Harold Wilson.
Correct?
He was suffering from
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
No.
Oh,
He
no.
didn't know that at the time.
Oh,
He
okay.
kept his plans to resign secret
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
completely shocked the nation.
March the
Who's
16th.
this? You've got to get this silhouette. That's pretty easy.
That's Winston
What was
Churchill.
his great secret after the war? Obviously, he had lots of secrets.
He was very ill at one point, wasn't he?
He had a stroke in Downing Street,
Yes.
but they hushed it up. He continued for another 2 years. Finally, who is this? And
That's
what is
me.
his great secret? What did you say, Michael?
That's a picture of me.
It is indeed. That is one Michael Portillo. And his great secret?
I don't know.
I will tell you, Diane. He didn't speak to William Hague for 7 years.
Oh my goodness!
On this programme, it said it was about Margaret Thatcher, but it was actually about Michael Portillo. Why didn't you speak? Briefly.
Jealous.
We didn't really see each other.
He was bullying
Oh
you.
my!
Really see. We'll bully them when we get this programme out of the way. Thanks for joining us. Thanks all of you at home for watching.